The first selectman decided to not freeze all of the town employees' salaries. They simply deferred it for 6 months. And actually, all the employees who had bargained for a raise are getting their raises. There was no salary freeze. The teachers did agree to a salary freeze, and I shouldn't, some of the local town departments, I believe the police department, perhaps the fire department, the public works department, they did agree to salary freezes, but there was a kind of a three-card Monte going on. We're coming into the next budget cycle with salary increases that are $1 million, almost $1 million higher than what we thought they would be when we sent that budget proposal out to you. That's putting us behind the 8 ball by $1 million. The last budget that we put out to you, they cut $1 million of capital out. That was just a deferral. Guess what you're going to see coming this year? The salary increases, and you're also going to see that $1 million in capital. We need that. We are going into this budget right now $2 million behind the 8 ball between capital and the salary increases that were given, although the intent was not to give them. We need to stop that kind of a practice. I want to close with reminding you and reminding the voters of what I saw on GCTV 2 weeks ago. There was a show aired by our opponents, and it involved Gary McElhaney and Matt Hoy and Lou Federici. And they were having a conversation around the table about how they were going to deal with finances in the town and what they were going to do with their new administration. I took note of that show, and I actually wrote down their proposals. Now, I'm not making any of this up. I believe, I'm paraphrasing, but Gary McElhaney's solution for increasing revenue are the following items. Construct cell towers. Does anybody want a cell tower in their neighborhood? Sell some of the town-owned land. Now, this is the same gentleman that just strongly encouraged everyone in the world to buy 600 acres. Another suggestion he had was to raise fees. That would be on the different departments, park and rec, that sort of thing. That's another tax in my view. And their last solution was to hope for some increased state revenue. Now, that's not a solution, my friends. That is more of what we have had for perhaps the last 5 or 6 years. We need to stop this sort of thing. Cell towers, selling land, raising fees, and counting on the state, who's, you know, as broke as can be, is just not a solution in my view. It's all about the money. And when you hear from our candidates, I want you to be reminded with each and every candidate, who will you trust in December to be the custodians of your tax dollars? Will you trust our candidates, or will you trust our opponents? Our opponents have had some opportunities. I've enlightened you on some of their proposed solutions, and I can pretty much rest assured of you that if you're satisfied with the opponents, you're also satisfied with the 5% tax increase. I thank you all for attending tonight.
Thank you, fellow Republicans. It is a great honor for me to be nominated for the office of First Selectman, and I graciously accept your nomination. As many of you know, I have served 16 years in elected office and have been honored and proud to serve our community for those many years. I believe I have demonstrated the type of commitment necessary to serve as your first selectman. I always carefully consider all points of view and have supported many programs and services considered desirable for our community. I am most proud of my advocacy for the Senior Tax Relief Program, my strong support of excellence in education, and my commitment to prudent financial policies. But there is more to be accomplished. It has been a difficult year for Guilford and its citizens. We have seen our bond rating decrease. We are faced with a projected shortfall in our revenue of $1.6 million. We will have to further reduce our fund balance, also known as our savings account or rainy day fund, by over $500,000. We needed 2 referendums to get a budget approved, and we have seen the trust in government eroded. Guilford is in need of a change in both direction and in leadership. It is time for a new majority on our boards and commissions. It is time for proven, experienced leadership to once again serve the citizens of Guilford. It is time to review the operations of our town government by creating a due diligence task force to perform a top-to-bottom review of processes, procedures, and operations. We can and we will increase efficiency through the use of technology and provide additional training for our staff to better utilize the technology we have. We need to consider the elimination of obsolete or unnecessary processes that provide little or no value to the administration of this town or its citizens. Where appropriate, we need to further encourage regionalization that will increase our efficiency without compromising service or local control. We can and we will do more with less to restore our financial health. I will lead a task force whose agenda is not intended to diminish the ranks of our town employees. I value our staff. Our town and school employees demonstrated their willingness to accept furloughs and forego negotiated increase in wages. This was a win for all of us. Our teachers remain the only teachers bargaining unit in the state that has agreed to concessions to wage increases. The goal of the task force will be to identify weaknesses and capitalize on our strengths. No financial plan will solve the problems without also including our partners from the business community. We have lost many existing businesses, and new businesses are faced with endless delays and a myriad of hassles by the Democratic Party-controlled boards. My critics will attribute the dismal business environment to the collapse of our national economy. Here in Guilford, most of the blame falls squarely on the agenda of the current majority. We can and we will support good, clean economic development to increase our commercial tax base and ease the burden on our residential taxpayers. We must attract businesses that will be a good fit for Guilford, while not hindering the efforts and operations of our current commercial taxpayers. Our boards and commissions must stop their zealous efforts in over-regulating. Let's not repeat that ridiculous attempt to regulate inside the store signage that we went through about a year and a half ago.